Hello and welcome back to Hulk's Hobbies. If you were here during the last video, you saw we have seen every animal except for deer while out hunting. We saw these coyotes and we saw the turkeys and then we saw the bobcat that we weren't able to get on footage. But the goal over this next few hunts is to not only see a deer but to hopefully get a shot off at a deer. We're going to go through some archery hunting a little bit with this next few hunts, but then we're going to also hit antlerless pre-rut with the rifle, which will take the 243 out for that. So let's hope we can see a doe that's close enough during that time, or maybe a buck that's close enough during the archery time. We'll see what happens. Again, you never know, but stick around and find out. Over the next several weeks, from the previous time that we were out hunting all the way until mid to late October, we went everywhere. You can see in these video clips we were hiking around trying different locations. The brush was so high that we had difficulties trying to see through the brush. I tried one of my favorite spots and it didn't bode well for me, so I tried bouncing to a few other locations to see if there was any chance to potentially, just hopefully, be able to see a deer come out in front of us. And you can tell that I'm getting more and more depressed as the season kind of waned on. But finally, I felt like things were going to change. We are headed out for our afternoon hunt right now. I changed it up a little bit. This morning I was hunting with the crossbow, and I haven't seen anything out anyway. And right now it's early season antlerless, pre-rut antlerless season, so you can use a rifle. Well, I figured since I'm not seeing anything anyway and the bucks may or may not be moving, let's take the rifle out and see if we can't drop a doe. That's the goal anyway. If we can drop a doe, yay! If we see a buck while we're out here and we don't have the crossbow, I may be a little perturbed with myself. But that's just kind of the way that it works. So we got a bit of a hike in. We're gonna hunt pretty close to where we were at a few days ago. Kind of in that general vicinity. You can hear the car noise behind me. So I'm making my way into the woods right now. And from the parking area, which is back that way. And right now we're the only people here. So at least there's no one else in the parking area. So that's a big bonus. So anyway, we'll sneak back, see if we can't see a doe or have a doe come in here. If we do, we shoot the doe. Yay! If we see a buck and it's close enough that we get a shot at with a crossbow, dang! Now, the last time I was out here wasn't actually for hunting for myself. My buddy calls me up, and I was out at a Bible study at the time when my buddy calls me. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I could probably come out and give you a hand. He calls me while I'm at Bible study, and I'm like, well, I can't answer right now, so I had to give it about 15 minutes. I answered the call, called him back. He sends me messages as I'm at Bible study, and he's like, man, I shot at a doe, and there's blood, but I don't see her down anywhere. And I was like, okay. I called him back. I'll be there in 30, 40 minutes or so. So I start making my way to him, drive down here, pretty close to where we're at right now. And I'm like, okay, give me the lowdown. What's the deal? What's going on? He's like, well, I found the bolt because he shot that with a crossbow. I'm like, great. I said, got blood on it? He said, yeah, it's covered in blood. Okay, cool. So we should have a good blood trail. So he's like, well, I'm seeing dime, nickel-sized kind of blood droplets that are leading me out to this area. And I'm tracking these nickel-sized blood droplets. I'm like, well, that's weird. The bull's covered in blood. You'd kind of hope you'd have a good shot.
And he's like, well, let's go track it. So I get out there, another buddy of ours shows up to help track it. We're tracking, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of have an idea where deer like to run here. Let me go down to a spot and see if it ran into the woods here. It might be bedded, it might be dying down there. So I walk down to that spot. I get down there, and sure enough, there's a deer bedded in there. And I'm like, okay, well, if this deer's bedded down in there, that might be the deer. So, not wanting to spook the deer, I decided to hoot to see if my buddy would come over to me. He heard the hoot, but it scared the crap out of me, didn't know what it was. So he didn't come over to me. So I was like, well, okay, I'll go over to him. As soon as I moved, of course, the deer spooked. And got up and ran. I'm like, let's go look at the bed. So we went and looked where I thought the bed was. And there was no blood in the bed. Like, okay, it may have been a different deer, it may not have been the right deer. So I was like, pump the brakes, go back, track dot by dot to see where this is. Well, we used the old trick of putting out wet wipes to mark the blood trail. So we're finding these little tiny drops of blood, and we're dropping these wet wipes, and we're going, and we finally get into the thick brush right near where I thought I saw that deer bedded. Sure enough, we come across the bed maybe 20 feet from where I thought the other bed was, and it was bedded there. I just found the wrong location. It was bedded there. Darn. So we decide, okay, let's keep tracking. Well, we pushed the deer twice, but it was a warm night, like a really warm night. And we're like, well, if it dies out here and it takes 8 to 10 hours to find the deer, as warm as it is, the meat's probably gonna spoil. We need to find it, we need to see if it's dead, or we need to finish it off, and then we need to harvest. So we're working our way through. As we work our way through, we finally push it. It's just spooking it. Finally, it gets to the lake's edge, and the blood trail stops. So we're at a lake. You can see there's a lake right down there. Goes all the way down there. That's the lake. And we were just up. If you see the lake here, we would have been up that way on the lake. So we're like, okay, well, we'll see if it ended up in the lake. And we're tracking. As we're tracking, we get along this area. There's blood everywhere, and a good blood trail at this point. The funny thing was about the blood trail, it started as nickel and dime blood, and then it got more and more, but a lot of the blood had what looked like bile and stuff in it, and then some blood was oxygenated. So like, would you hit the gut and the lung at the same time? Like, how, at the shot you took, how'd you do that? We said it was quartering to him. Like, maybe you crossed through the body and you hit the left lung and cut the back right part of the gut, and that's why we have this blood trail. But that lung should have completely exploded at this point, and there should have been way more blood. So we're trying to figure that out as we're going. Finally, we get to the lake's edge. There's blood there, what looks like oxygenated blood, and I'm like, hey, this is a good sign. But it stopped at the lake, and then we looked, and it ran up down the side of the lake, and then all of a sudden stopped again. So it got into the water, and we're listening, and we hear splashing. And the buddy who shot it actually heard the splashing. He's like, I'm gonna follow that and see if I can't find the splashing area. So he makes his way up to where he hears the splashing. Sure enough, there she is, sitting in the water, maybe 10 feet, 20 feet away from where we were standing. And of course, we don't have the bow on us right now, and it's pushing 11 o'clock at night at this point. And we've tracked. So we're like, okay, let's figure out what we can do here. I'm like, well, I might be able to get it with a knife. And our other buddy's like, I'm gonna smash with a rock. So grabs this giant rock, and the deer sees him move, and of course it swims out in the middle of the lake. Well, now the deer's 200 some odd yards off the shore in the middle of the lake, and we hear grrr, and we're like, I think it just drowned. So we're like, we got a dead deer, we got in the lake, how are we gonna get it? Well, I've got canoes and kayaks and stuff, and I'm like, well, grab the canoe, and we could try to go after it that way. I heard something over here a second ago. Oh, it's starting to rain. Hearing the rain come down. And there's a squirrel over there. But So we're like, well, we grab a canoe, but it's like a 6-mile paddle or better. And I'm like, at night, it's gonna be rough. So we have a friend of ours that has a boat. And we called them, has a couple of boats, and he let us take a small boat. And he's like, yeah, I can grab the small boat. So at midnight, we launch the small boat, we go out. We're going into an area that's shallow, has a lot of treetops down, and that you can hit with the boat. And we're trying to be careful getting back in there. And I'm like, we're not gonna find it. There's no way, right? Like, it's a needle in a haystack. My buddy's much more positive than I am. And as we're going out there, he shines the light across. He goes, white. I'm like, oh my goodness, we actually found it. So we take the boat over. We pull this deer out of the water, which is dead, and it did run. And the way it was shot is it went through the front shoulder, nicked a lung, actually came partially out along the lung, along the rib cage cavity, along the chest cavity, and then the arrow continued down and nicked the gut, and that's what caused the different styles of blood, the lung blood and the bile blood. So, very odd situation. We got it back, we got it taken care of and cleaned, and he took it back to finish processing. But craziest retrieval I've ever been a part of. So, all right, we're now getting back close to where I kind of want to get quiet and do some hunting. So we're going to get quiet here. We're going to sneak out in the field. Once I'm in position, I'll talk to you again there. We'll see what happens. In our spot, and I'm almost certain this is, if not the exact same spot my buddy was at. We're within, yards of where he was. So we are going to continue to kind of stay quiet. We're here 4.5 hours before dark. So that you guys plenty of time to let things kind of move in. I've got the 243 with me today, so we'll be using that. And we're here going to stay quiet to see what happens. If nothing happens, at least we came out. The biggest thing I'm hoping for is that a buck doesn't show up within like 10 yards, 20 yards from me, where I could have gotten it with my bow, and I didn't bring the bow. So let's hope for a doe that comes in within shooting distance. And if that happens, we're going to have some excitement. Otherwise, we're just going to hang out and have a good day in the woods. So, alright, until then, we'll be chatting later. We're at 1 hour. 1 hour till official sundown. I haven't seen or heard anything moving. Obviously, we had squirrels and a few other things going around, but I haven't seen anything else yet. So, hopefully, as the sun goes down, things start moving out. We'll wait and see. Well, it's starting to rain again. That could either be really good or it could mean that they're all going to bed down. Let's hope it pushes them out a little bit early and then we get a chance to take a shot of one. But yeah, we've got some rain coming in right now. We have something walking in straight across from me. Go in the tree. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a decent 8-point buck all the way down there, walking down the right now. Of course, this video's not much better, but it's way down there, and I can't get a clear video of it because it's so far away. I mean, it's 150, 200 yards away or better. Can't shoot it right now anyway, because again, I just have my rifle, and that's all I can use is for a doe right now, because it's early AOLS. But that's the first year I've seen this season in the daytime that I can actually take a shot. Downside is, light's going away, and I'm gonna wait for it to get
So you're always told when you're out in the woods to not get target fixated, and I did exactly that. Now, if you're paying attention here, there's 3 deer on this screen. There's a larger 8, potentially 10 point. There's the 7 or 8 point that we saw that was walking in throughout the entirety of the previous few videos, and then there's a spike in the center of the screen. So if you look in the cedar bush, there's that 8, potentially 10 point. I think it's a big 8. Then there's the spike, and then there's the 7 or 8 point that may or may not come back to us later on in a few videos. And in this part, you're noticing that 7/8 point interacting with the spike, but if you pay attention off to the right side of the screen, you'll see that bigger 8 point, potentially 10 point, working his way across the screen just about now. He's a big boy, he's a big bruiser, and there he is right there coming across. But I'd say he's a big 8, potentially small 10. I think one side definitely has 3 up with a nice brow, and I think the other side may potentially have 4 up with a good brow tine, so he may be a 9 point, but he's a decent sized buck. So there's these 3 bucks here, but then again, there comes another buck, and this one's a 4 point. Nice sized little 4 point, and then off to the side as this 8 point, that 7 or 8 point that came in originally is making its way to the right, you'll even see off to the side here, there's another buck, which is a decent size, probably 6 point with 2 up on each side and a brow tine. So we have a total of 5 deer that are in this field, with the bigger 8 point, the 7 or 8 point, which both of those may come into play later, a sizable 6 point, and then an okay size 4 point, and then the spike. So we have a decent amount of deer activity that's happening. But again, all bucks. It is antlerless season, and I have my rifle. I'm not allowed to shoot a buck. So it's one of those days where you're like, well, I guess I just watched the deer roam through. And again, pretty cool to see all these deer, because these are the first sets of deer I've seen this season in daylight.
I don't know if you can see me at all, it's that dark. Let's go this way, maybe you can see me better if I turn around. We got the light there. No, it doesn't help. Well, we're getting out while it's dark. They're still in bachelor pads right now, or bachelor groups right now. We saw at least 5 bucks and maybe 6. And the smallest one's the spike, but then after that, the smallest one was a nice 6 or 8 point I couldn't quite make out. Then there's a big, at least 10 point running along with them.
Well, isn't it just about the way it always goes? We went out there, we gave it our best shot, we attempted to go archery hunting, we went for several hunts. It had been in numerous weeks going out throughout the first montage there while we're out there. That we were trying to just get a shot off at something or see something. We didn't see anything during daylight the whole time, and then finally, when we finally see something during daylight, it's pre-red antlerless. I have my rifle, which is only allowed to harvest a doe at pre-red antlerless, and I see several bucks. Now keep an eye out on one of those bucks, because they may come back later on in a few videos. And they may come back in the next few hunts. So, come back, watch the next video, and maybe we'll see them again. But in that meantime, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining Hulk's Hobbies. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Please share this with your friends. And God bless.